recording. And I'll start out by saying our usual welcome to our folks here, and indeed to those who might be hearing this recording later on. And welcome to ACIM Talks with Reverend Jim. It is Tuesday, March 4th. And oh my goodness, it was 71 degrees here in Ypsilanti, Michigan. I think we broke a new temperature record for March.
Wow.
And I suppose that's kind of fabulous. It does give me a little pause about what it might be like in July. But on the other hand, one thing I found as a Michigander is nobody gets bored with the weather. As a matter of fact, we could see some snow flurries by this Sunday. So the temp will take a bit of a dive throughout the rest of the week. But boy, I'm grateful just to have experienced the 70, I think it was 71 here, a 71-degree day in the month of March. So that's my little weather update to kind of get us started here. I'm glad to have everybody here, and we were kind of talking and speculating about our agenda for tonight. And so we'll go ahead with our special messages to Helen, but maybe take a little different tack with it. Kathleen and Dee are most familiar with these messages, and see what they have to say. But as usual, before we get started, any comments or anything or announcements or anything any of you would like to say before we get going? All right, so it's kind of business as usual. And I was asking Ron beforehand and making sure it wasn't monkey business. And Ron assured me that no, it was not monkey business involved. So we were all glad to hear that, because Ron's been rather notorious. I'm just kidding, and let me stop the whole thing. But I got him smiling at any rate. Listen, as you saw on the agenda, I wanted to show you some more about the ACIM audio app from the Foundation for Inner Peace. It's about a 4-minute video that I'd like to show you about it. I've mentioned before that I've been involved in the development of this app, and I'm excited about it. I use it every day. But, the Foundation for Inner Peace, the uh, official scribe, approved publisher of A Course in Miracles, has been around for a while, and has a lot of traditions. So I was really glad when they had the foresight, in my opinion, of kind of stepping more into modern day. So they've had their web edition of A Course in Miracles for a few years, but I really like the spirit of the foundation, that they made, if you will, a corporate decision to step into the future and produce this next iteration of their publishing, which is contained in the ACIM audio app. So without further ado, let me just show that to you. I'll share screen, and I hope you'll appreciate it. Like I said, I use it every day, and it's been a great addition to my efforts to not only study, but to live A Course in Miracles. So let me get this going here. It'll look like this. And bear with me. There we go.
I'm Selena, Communications Manager for the Foundation for Inner Peace. Well, you spoke and we listened, and we're excited to share about the coming of the ACIM audio app. Listen to our product team members share about what's in store for this online, innovative path for students of A Course in Miracles.
Hi, I'm Felix. I'm the product owner of the ACIM audio app, and I want to tell you why we even set out to do it. One of the things we kept hearing is that people want to stay connected to A Course in Miracles as they go about their lives. And audio is a great way to do that because you can be doing one thing and still listen to A Course in Miracles. So this is what we did. We took the whole course, the text, the workbook, the manual, and also the supplements in a beautiful audio recording and put it into this one easy to use app that's on your phone. And that will allow you to listen to the course as you go about your life. One of the features I really like in this app is that I can listen to the text and the workbook, and it will never forget my place in either. And it's very easy to continue where I was listening in the text in the afternoon after I did my daily lesson. Another feature I want to highlight is the ability to add short little breaks after each sentence. So you might be in a situation where you don't have your full attention to the thing you're listening to, but you can add these little breaks and it will allow you to still understand what was going on. And then when you're in another situation where you have your full attention, you can take out that breaks just with a swipe of a button and listen to it in the original speed.
Hi, I'm Courtney, and I'm the UX designer at the Foundation for Inner Peace. My team and I have been hard at work studying and listening to many different types of ACIM students, so we know the exact type of app that we need to make. We've identified your needs and we're adding them into the app. We're focused on making this app accessible and useful for you. For example, I am a new ACIM student, so my favorite feature is our meditation mode. We have sourced many different ACIM quotes and prayers from students around the world, and we've added them into the app. This feature is great if you're in need of some guidance or you just don't know where to start. I love utilizing our surprise ACIM prayer feature when I just need to get connected to the love that's inside of all of us.
I'm Corey, and I'm a software engineer working on the ACIM audio app. As I'm listening to A Course in Miracles with the app, I really enjoy the background music. It really helps me connect to the words of A Course in Miracles and helps keep me focused without getting distracted. So I really enjoy that. I also really enjoy the reminders. So they come in every morning and let me know, hey, you should study the course, and helps provide more peace in my daily life as my practice is more consistent.
I'm Tara, Chief Product Officer at the Foundation for Inner Peace. We're extremely excited to bring this timeless source of wisdom in a new, beautiful form. We made this ACIM audio app for you. You'll have the course with you wherever you go in the palm of your hands on your phone. I really love this app and the extraordinary work of our amazing team. I'm excited for you to try it out and experience this new portal into the teachings of A Course in Miracles. I invite you to visit the App Store and download ACIM Audio today.
So, do any of you have this app? I know some of you said before that you have other apps with A Course in Miracles on it. But again, I invite you to check this one out. They paid a lot of attention to asking course students about how they use ACIM and how they would like to be able to use it. And so, again, I'm honored to have been part of the development of this. And again, this is just the first iteration of it. So we look forward to even more things in the future. But again, I'm honored to have been a part of it and to be a part of the promotion of it. Subscription fees, it's like $5.99 a month and $39.99 for the whole year. So check it out. As I mentioned before, the link to getting the app is at the bottom of our agenda. So thank you for your kind attention on that. Do you have any questions about it or anything?
Do you know how soon we'll be able to get it on an Android phone?
I do not, except to say that if you go to follow the link, you can get on the waiting list to be the first to know about the progress of the Android version and when it will be out for your Android phone. So you just, add your name to that list to make sure you're like on the first to know. Okay, Joe?
Okay, thank you.
I have
Absolutely.
my 2 cents, but I don't wish to be recorded on it.
Oh, well, I guess we'll move on unless you want us to stop recording.
It's up to you.
Why don't you hold your comments then,
Okay.
and we'll get back to you about it.
Okay.
We had some discussions about where we are with the messages to Helen. It's like some 40 pages of special messages to Helen Schuckman. But we have we were discussing whether we want to continue going on with it full speed ahead. And so to that end, we said we pull it up again tonight and just have it in front of us and talk about it a little bit more and see if we can learn more about what is the context in which these excerpts were presented. So I'm gonna share screen and pull it up and let's read some. And for those of you that are more knowledgeable about the origins of these excerpts, we can just kind of have a free discussion about it. Okay?
Yeah, if you're going to share screen, let's start at number 2, because that if we're going to get the idea of the cameo, which is in special message 2 and 3 are from cameo 21.
All right.
We'd want to start from the beginning of it.
Well, let's maybe start with, a lot of our viewers, particularly on this recording, don't know even what you mean by cameos.
Okay.
So maybe that's a good place to start. Now, just to offer context here, last week we started this and completed messages 1 and 2. And so we haven't read messages 3 and that going forward. But anyhow, Dee, here's
Message 3 is a continuation of message 2.
all right. So do you want talk about cameos? You
Okay,
maybe
so
Kathleen, I know, are familiar with cameos.
yeah, the cameos are so Robert Perry's edition of the Course in Miracles is called the CE edition. And in the CE edition, in the back of them, 30 something, what he entitled cameos were added. And the cameos were special messages to Helen that really pertained specifically to her and Bill. So they were not included in the text. And now this is how they got included by putting them at the end of what's called cameos. And for me, the significance of them, it really shows her humanhood. It shows what she went through in life, just like us, basically, the same as us, the same kind of angst, the same kind of problems. It shows her personal life and the response to it by Jesus.
Any other comments on what cameos are? Okay. So these are more cameos. Here, let me make sure I got it, okay?
So really, probably the special messages of this document are probably the same wording as the cameos, that he used the word cameos now, but they were special messages to Helen and Bill.
Well, I work and just made a decision to primarily work with the Foundation for Inner Peace edition of A Course in Miracles. But having said that, and for clarification to those that only are using the FIP edition, these special messages cannot be found at all in the FIP edition, right?
Correct.
And in the CE edition, Circle of Atonement, Robert Perry's group, in their version of A Course in Miracles, the things that were left out of the FIP version are put back in, but not right into the body of the document per se.
Most of it. Some went back into the body, but
but the majority of these special messages were added by way of cameos.
Correct. Yeah. And they were channeled from the same source.
Yeah, except that I'm getting the understanding so far that these were things of a more personal nature for Helen that didn't get into the FIP version. So this would be the Circle of Atonement's effort to make us more aware of the full context of A Course in Miracles.
Right, of everything that was channeled to her. Absolutely true.
Okay.
Jim, could I just, this cameo is, this paragraph is a paragraph in the cameo. Could I just see what message 3 is?
It's the next one. It's the next paragraph in this cameo.
Those two are part of the are in the cameo.
Right.
Okay.
So should we read it and discuss it?
Yeah, let's so the way the cameos work, they're everything in message 2 and 3 is in this cameo 21.
Yeah.
And besides that, Robert has his editorial comments on these channeled material. So Kathleen and I could read the channel material and we could stop and say, this is where this message comes in now.
Yeah.
So
It's interspersed. For example, the first paragraph in the cameo is a statement by Robert Perry. The next paragraph in the cameo is this message that you have up that is being shared. The next two paragraphs are commentary from Robert Perry. The next one is the next special message that you have. The next paragraph is the next special, so on and so forth. What?
Okay. What I would like to try is, since I assume you and Kathleen have the Circle of Atonement edition.
Uh-huh.
So could you start with Robert Perry's comments that lead into our message too? Do you have
Sure.
those at hand?
Sure.
All right, and I guess we'll just listen. I don't have that. I may have it, but I don't have it here with me, the edition.
So the cameo is called Cameo 21. You do not realize how much you hate each other. And it's referring to Bill and Helen.
Yeah.
So this is Robert Perry now. After the end of chapter 12, section 2 of the text, Fear as a Call for Love, there is a personal message that in the special messages is dated September 13th and 14th, 1966. It is written to both Helen and Bill and speaks quite frankly about the dark side of their relationship, the side they would rather avoid, yet the side that threatens to carry the day. It is the kind of relationship counsel that so many relationships could no doubt benefit from, yet is perhaps the most daunting to accept and carry out. And now here comes what you have on the shared screen, the channeled message.
So now we're coming to something we can all see. So why don't we start with Ron as reader 1, and Kathleen as 2, and Joan as 3, and Dee as 4, and Jim as 5. But the things you're reading from the CE edition itself, obviously that would have to be you or Kathleen.
Yeah.
Right.
You see, I have a different edition.
Ooh.
And so in my edition, they add more of an introduction in the cameo.
Wow. So
Go for it, Kathleen.
here's the order. We
Okay.
will start with Kathleen's introduction, then comments from Dee, right? And then message 2 from read by Ron. Right?
We'll figure it out as we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what my edition says. The journey into fear, chapter 12, section 3, was originally a discourse given to Helen and Bill about their relationship. It was included in the notes in this exact location and was dated September 13th, 14th, 1966 in special messages. In the first printing of the complete annotated edition, we included this message only here in Cameo 12. However, we gradually became aware that this message, in addition to being personally addressed to the course's scribes, also acts like part of a flow of teaching in chapter 12. We say this because it only contains 3 references to sections that precede it, but it also provides a conceptual foundation for the section that follows. As its title suggests, the section is all about looking at the cause of fear, yet the identity of the cause of fear is not clear in the section itself. The identity of the cause, however, is abundantly clear in this special message. looking at the cause of fear, then appears to assume and rest on the presence of this discourse. Further, there is a sentence at the beginning of the Fear of Redemption, chapter 13, refers specifically and solely to this message. You may wonder why it is so crucial that you look upon your hatred as realized in its full context from the text, chapter 13. This sentence in chapter 13 then also acts as if this special message is part of the course itself. All in all, this discourse is like other messages given personally to Helen and Bill. They are also part of the flow of the course's teaching, such as I need to do nothing, text 22. We have therefore included a very lightly edited edition of the section 3 of chapter 12. We've included an unedited discourse along with our comments on it, and here is this cameo. This discourse speaks quite frankly about the dark side of Bill and Helen's relationship, the side they would rather avoid, yet the side that threatens to carry the day. It is kind of a relationship counsel that so many relationships could no doubt benefit from, yet perhaps the most daunting to accept and carry out. And now it goes to that paragraph, you have no idea.
So you read the introduction plus the comments we heard from Dee previously, right?
Yep.
And now we're ready for Ron, right?
Yep.
Right.
But before we get to Ron, you kept referencing chapter 12.
This cameo is very unusual. It's the only one in all the cameos where they actually added it back into the text.
Because
The whole
chapter 12
cameo was added back to the text, in the text.
All right, because my
is-
chapter 12 is called the Holy Spirit Curriculum. So that's a major difference, is it not? Just so I'm
And
clear.
you're in the FIP edition, you're saying?
Yes, ma'am. Chapter,
Oh, you can't make that correlation, because just like in the FIP, all the section titles were man-made. They did not come from the channeling of Jesus.
all right. Enough
So
said.
the same as this, he has renamed some of the sections. None of the section titles came from the channeling.
All right. Questions from Joan or Ron before we even move on with Ron's reading? Any
let's move
impressions, Joan? Yes. What were you saying, Joan?
I said, let's move on.
All right. Ron, do that reading now within the context provided by Kathleen and Dee.
Okay, message to September 13th, 1966. You have no idea of the intensity of your wish to get rid of each other. This does not mean that you are not strongly impelled toward each other, but it does mean that love is not the only emotion. Because your love has become more in awareness, the conflict can no longer be settled by your previous attempts to minimize the fear. The love makes attack untenable, but you still feel the fear. Instead of trying to resolve it directly, you have a strong tendency to try to escape from the love. Yet this is the last thing you would want to escape from. And even if you did, you can escape from everything else, but not from this. Be glad indeed that there is no escape from salvation.
And does message 3 follow?
No, the
No,
next
there's an
is
explanation.
Robert's commentary again.
All
And
right. Well,
there's
let me
at
just
the end of that,
clarify.
at the end of that reading, there's a footnote. And the footnote says all quotations without page numbers in this cameo are from Helen's notes. Throughout these cameo essays, we have corrected spelling and errors in dictated materials for ease of reading. So this is from, these are her actual notes that we're reading, that was just read.
All right, but let me just speak to the content of this paragraph before we go on. In the last sentence or two sentences, Jesus says, and even if you did, you can escape from everything else, but not from this. What is this? You cannot escape
Love.
from what?
Love.
Love.
All right, I just want to be sure I'm clear and that we're clear as a group on that. And then he says, be glad indeed that there is no escape from salvation. Somebody help me. Is he offering an equivalency between love and salvation here?
Sure sounds it.
So
That's what
you can escape from everything else, but not from love. And so be glad indeed that there is no escape from love, because that is salvation. That is the same as salvation. Is that what you're getting out of this or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
I
So
think
I'm doing okay with understanding. And then there's the footnote clarifications that Kathleen read, right?
Yep.
What's next in the CE? Is there more before message 3?
Yes.
Yes.
Who wants to, are we back to D? Do you have it? You guys have different editions, right?
The rest of it will all be the
Will be
same.
all the same.
The only difference is because of this cameo. It's the only difference.
So D, you want to pick up?
Sure.
And
This,
it
so
could
now
be-
this is Robert Perry's comment
yes, and
on.
it's going to introduce message 3 for us, right?
No, it's going to comment on this paragraph that we just read that's on the shared screen.
Message 2.
All right, let's have at it, my dear.
The message opens by saying that Helen and Bill are in denial about just how much they want to get rid of each other. They do love each other, and this love pulls them toward one another, but they also fear each other, and this fear is the desire to pull away. They have been trying to minimize the fear, the wish to get rid of each other, but now they have become more in touch with the love. You might think this would make fear go away, but instead it has simply thrown the fear into sharp relief. So now they are stuck with conflicting emotions that are pulling them in opposite directions. The solution seems to be to dampen down the love again so that it no longer highlights the fear, allowing them to return to their old strategy of minimizing the fear. Now, with both love and fear reduced to manageable levels, things can return to calm. Yet, the love, as Jesus says, is the last thing you want to escape from. And even if they believe they want to, they can't actually do it. For how can they escape from the reality itself?
Yeah, it strikes me once you tasted this something else or it's come into your awareness, it's like you'll never be the same no matter how hard you try. You know, I
also think that it's commenting on that love is not your only emotion in sentence. Let me see. On the shared screen. the well, I'll read it from the first sentence. You have no idea of the intensity of your wish to get rid of each other. This does not mean that you are strongly impelled toward each other, but it does mean that love is not the only emotion. So Robert is pointing out in his comments that they have conflicted emotions,
Yeah.
a split mind.
Yeah. And certainly we've read about that in our study of A Course in Miracles and the fruitless effort to serve two masters. And the only remedy is to choose, isn't it? You know. So what's next?
Next,
Okay, here's message 2, and then
So
Carrie
next
comments
is-
after. Yes.
next is message 3 from Jesus.
All right, and so we would be up to Joan, right?
Yeah.
Message 3.
You just want to read the first paragraph, because then there's an explanation for the first paragraph.
Beautiful. You got it, Joan.
Okay. Message 3, September 14th, 1966. You do not realize how much you hate each other. You will not get rid of this until you do realize it. For until then, you will think you want to get rid of each other and keep the hatred. Yet, if you are each other's salvation, what can this mean except that you prefer attack to salvation? Be glad that neither your reality nor your salvation is a matter of your preference, for you have much cause for joy. But that the cause is not of your making is surely obvious. You do hate and fear each other, and your love, which is very real, is totally obscured by it. How can you know the meaning of love unless it is total?
Mm.
Did I
And
keep
then
going?
there's something else, right?
Yeah, there's an explanation.
Go ahead with.
Okay, Jesus begins the second paragraph by repeating the same basic idea with which he began the first. They do not realize how intense is their hatred for each other. Then he explains the reason for his emphasis on this. The only way they can get rid of the hatred is to first recognize its full extent. Only then will they see just how ugly it is, and only then will they understand that the hatred itself is the problem. Until then, they will look at each other person is the problem, and so they will want to get rid of each other and keep the hatred. This is the solution they would opt for on their own. Each of them would throw the other under the bus, leaving both of them with their hatred as their only friend. Thankfully, however, their preferences do not control reality, and the reality is that they have much cause for joy. For in the person right in front of them stands their salvation, and shining right below their hatred and their fear is, and shining right below their hatred and their fear is a love that, rather than being weak and unsure, is real and is total. Uncovering such love would be their greatest happiness, and that is why they should be so motivated to let go of everything that obscures it.
Mm.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then we have the second paragraph here.
Well, I was just going to comment on this paragraph. So again, Jesus is pointing out to them, let me see, at the very end of this paragraph that Joan read, you do hate and fear each other. So he's saying it's not a It's not just one of, they have the conflicted emotions. They have both. You do hate and fear each other, and your love, which is very real, is totally obscured by it. How can you know the meaning of love unless it is total? So he's pointing out again how they have split minds, conflicted minds.
Yeah.
I think it also reminds me of one of the characteristics of a teacher of God is honesty. And so let's look at this situation as it is instead of how you, in your ego, if you will, would choose to look at it. Let's be honest about what's going on here.
Mhm.
And it is a true inflection point. It is a significant choice that must be made. It's inevitable in order to deal with this issue. So let's first look at what the issue is and be honest about it. Okay, I'm going to help you see what's really going on here. Any
So
other?
he really, is showing how the philosophy of the whole context of the text is put into action in real life situations.
Now explain a little more. What do you mean?
Well, it's taking her personal issue and explaining it in the context of the course, this whole teaching.
And so, like you said before, these cameos kind of help us to see the evolution of the course in terms of her personal. It's more personal than
How to apply it to your personal life.
Yes,
It's showing us. Yeah.
Other comments here? Are we doing okay with this? Is it meaningful? Or let me ask you this: what comes next after "unless it is total" from the CE edition?
The next paragraph that
so
you have up.
Turn, right?
This will be
okay. This I'm good. I'll be reader.
okay.
This will be a very difficult period for you, but it will not be so for long. You are in danger, but you will be helped, and nothing will happen. But you cannot remain in darkness, and this will be the way out. Look as calmly as you can upon hatred, for if we are to deny the denial of truth, we must first recognize what we are denying. Remember that knowledge precedes denial, and that the separation was a descent from magnitude to littleness. And so the way back is to retrace the way to magnitude. It's like we say in study group, this course is not creative. It is rather restorative. It's not something new. It was something that was there before. So the path to awakening is undoing, not doing. That's my speech on it. What do you think?
Yeah.
What's next, my friends, in your full-length editions?
The next comment by Robert Perry about the paragraph you just read?
Yes.
Okay. The reason this will be a very difficult period is that they need to face their hatred. And while they are pondering whether to do that or not, this same hatred will be masquerading as objective truth and trying to drive them apart and perhaps even end their relationship, which seems implied by "you are in danger, but nothing will happen." They need to look at their hatred before they deny it, because rejecting something is only meaningful if you know exactly what you are rejecting. Otherwise, that rejection is an arrow shot into the dark that will surely miss its target. Logically speaking, you have to know something before you can deny it. In this separation, we denied the magnitude that we innately knew, thus reducing ourselves to a state of littleness. Now we need to go the other way. We need to fully know our hatred, the source of our littleness, so we could deny it and thus return to magnitude. In looking at our hatred, though, we need to do so calmly as you can. For by treating the hatred as too inconsequential to provoke a serious reaction, this calmness contains the seeds of letting it go.
I like this.
Mm.
Mhm.
What's next?
The next paragraph you have on the shared screen.
All right, before we close tonight, Ron, why don't we say we're back to you as reader, okay?
Okay.
Paragraph, please.
Your hatred is not real, but it is real to you. It hides what you really want. Surely you are willing to look upon what you do not want without fear, even if it frightens you, if you can thereby get rid of it. For you cannot escape salvation, and you will not escape fear until you want salvation. Be not afraid of this journey into fear, for it is not your destination. And we will walk through it in safety, for peace is not far, and you will be led in its light.
Thank you. Again, what is salvation? To say salvation, what is salvation? It says you will not escape fear until you want salvation. And what's another way of what is salvation?
Love.
Mhm.
And just so we're clear here where we use words, what adjective must we add to love? Starts with a T. A O, a T, a.
Total.
All right,
Only.
all right.
Only love.
Not sometimes,
All the
not
time.
part-time lovers. What total love is
Mhm.
salvation to me. We're getting on time to close.
There's just one more paragraph.
Yeah.
Maybe Kathleen could read it on the Robert's commentary on this
Yes,
paragraph.
great.
The final paragraph is a plea for Bill and Helen to act on what has been the main point of the entire message. The need to look at their hatred of each other. What does Jesus mean by looking at the hatred without fear, even if it frightens you? To understand this, we can liken the hatred to a tumor in the body. The tumor itself may be frightening, but this is all the more reason you want to look at it on X-ray, for until you look, nothing can be done about it. Despite its fearful nature, then you can look at it without fear, because looking leads directly to the surgery that will remove it. Therefore, this journey into fear, the hatred and fear of being two sides of the same coin, need not actually be the source of fear. It can actually be a source of hope. hope that the tumor will be gone, and Jesus promises that they will be guided safely through the dark valley and on to the peace that awaits them on the other side. All they need to supply is the willingness to look.
Honesty, huh? No. Courage? Well, whatever it takes, it seems like some fairly lofty attributes that it's calling upon in us. And so I'll tell you, I'm liking this. All right, let's get the definitive one. Joni, what do you think?
I like it too. I am not familiar with this, and so it's interesting to me. And
All right, so now is your cat there?
pardon me?
Have you looked at your cat to see kind of how she's receiving things, he or she? I'm always looking for a sign. Okay. Lord, give me a sign. What's the cat saying about it? But really, I think maybe we're discovering an interesting study. But what I would do is, instead of, I like that we have the visual messages here, but I'm loving how it's coming into context by having you guys read the CE info that precedes and follows these messages.
But the only one that was complete was these messages 2 and 3. The others, like if we go to the next message 4, it's just one little bit of the cameo. It's like it's not going to be congruent. I don't think it is.
For
Maybe
any of the remaining ones.
I mean, we can't. I did not see.
Let me ask you this. What if we studied a chapter in the CE version itself?
What do you mean?
Why don't we read one of the chapters in Robert, the Circle of Atonement, the CE?
Do you have it that you could share it?
No, but you could read it.
But then I don't know. Not all of us are going to participate the same. I don't know.
I don't mind reading.
We can continue it this way, see where the special message is in the text, but it seems piecemeal to me.
Yes. Kathleen, you have it there also. The issue would be that this is kind of cool because, we can all see some of it, if not all of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if an hour of having you read to us would have the same effect.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kathleen?
Either way is fine with me. I'm willing to read. But but that told us those told us specifically where it was from. The other ones, it doesn't appear that they do. So someone would have to search out to figure out where it was from.
Well, I guess we've got a bit to think about, and maybe it's in the category of a bit to pray about, huh? I will commit to doing that and seeing if we can come up with something of value for next week. And
what about Ron's input?
Oh, Ron, what you say, buddy? Thank you, Dee.
I do, thank you. I do find it interesting, but I am a visual learner. So when I'm listening to somebody read, I don't get quite as much out of it, to be honest.
All right, I appreciate that assessment.
I wouldn't either,
Me,
personally.
me neither.
Okay, so I'm thinking we're gonna drop messages to Heaven to Helen. Same thing, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
I may bring back the old Oracle reading of the FIP until we can think of something else.
I thought we were gonna do the Unity compared to ACIM next.
The problem is we'd all have to come up with books.
Well, I could order if we there would be the three of us. I could order 3 more books, and then if you would give me your addresses, I could mail them to Ron, Joan, and Sherilyn. If we definitely want to do it, I will order them off of Albrius because they're like very inexpensive, but they're used books. So if that's something you're open to, then I will order them and then I can mail them to each one individually.
So you would have them mailed directly to our home addresses?
No, I would have them mailed directly to me because I'm not that capable of doing it the other way. So I would have them mailed directly to me and then I would mail them directly to each
Alright.
individual person.
Well, here's what I would plan to do. I'm not sure I want to make that commitment tonight, nor
Mhm.
have you incur expenses, even though we're going to pay you back for it.
No, it's not that expensive, so I wouldn't expect you to pay me back. Because I actually mailed the book to my niece and it wasn't that it was inexpensive and
What say you folks? And we're going to get off the line tonight here. Shoot.
okay.
This is getting to be kind of a hassle. Maybe we should just go back to the Oracle.
How about this? We go back to our Oracle reading of FIP and we can consider this a little further in the meantime.
Sure.
Sounds good.
All right.
Sure.
You guys are so advanced that, but once we get back to the old course, you may find you still find it enjoyable and of value, but boy, are we a high-powered group, right?
Mm.
All right. I thank you for your kind attention. I'll make the agenda accordingly for next week and see how and when we want to move forward on the ACIM and Unity book.
Mhm.
And we'll talk about it some more next time, okay?
Okay.
So I'll stop sharing. So comment there?
Oh, I'd love to, I wanted to tell Joan something after you stop the recording.
All right. Well, I can stop, presumably I can stop recording at any time.
Mhm.
So I'll say good night to everybody as a whole.
I mean, I could say it to, oh, never mind. It's
Okay,
recorded.
if it's recording and the only way you can stop recording is by signing off, make me the
No.
host.
I should be able to stop recording. So
Yeah.
let's try it. You know, I'm becoming
Oh,
an
okay.
expert, but if we all get wiped out, you'll know what happened.
Okay, then it could wait till
I'll
next
sign
week.
off officially here and we can talk a little further.
Okay.
Please hold on.